Hello everyone and welcome back to a very war-weary Alan Wake 2. I feel like the team has suffered. We know that Scratch has been out. It looks like there's clues in this room.
Need to find the key.
If we can get in here. We've got a key to the lighthouse over in Watery, so we need to go back there. But let's step in and have
Wake's double.
a chat.
He tricked us. He almost got the clicker from me. The whole plan has gone out the window. How could we get this so wrong?
Textbook boondoggle.
Textbook boondoggle.
You said it, Anderson. It's a shit show. So what's the plan?
Well, I can't believe he fooled us because
Scratch
apparently I'm that
pretended to be
naive.
Wake to trick us.
He almost won me over. I should have trusted my gut. Had a bad feeling about him when we found him at the lake. When that insane monster cloud came at me in the woods, I saw a face inside it. Wake's. I think he was always a monster. Always Scratch.
We need to do some profiling on Casey. But before we do that, we should think about where we're going to go on from here. And whether we go on now, whether we explore further. So, as a break room, we don't have any quick and obvious options for the janitor's closet. Can we leave the station? We can leave the station. We can leave the station. Let's take this time to go back to the janitor's bucket in the Elderwood Palace. And we'll pick up Saga's story after we've done the next bit of Alan Wake's.
This is the kind of case my ex hated. The ones that might kill me.
That's funny. Cases that might kill me.
I think that Casey and Estevez are going to hit it off. It feels like they've got that camaraderie that could go somewhere. For us, however, we need to dive into some water.
I think you may be right.
So, quick save. Let's switch. Because if Wake has been pushed back, if Scratch has been pushed back, where are we now? Gotta go answer the phone. That's where we are. We can probably get rid of 2 of the flashbangs. Those aren't really going to be necessary. I would love more space in my inventory here. In fact, we can probably get rid of 2 more. 2 flashbangs is plenty. We've got lots of meds, lots of batteries. Just before we move on, let's save with our new inventory setup, and then we'll make a move. No, don't care about any of you.
Hello?
Hello.
It wasn't Zane. It wasn't Scratch either. Huh? You're me? Me? I don't understand. There's a lot I don't understand.
The dark place operates in loops. Time is a story. I'm calling you from a different point in that story.
From the future? I'm never getting out of here, am I?
Yes, you will. And no, you won't. And that is by your own choice.
What does that mean?
I'm sorry for what you'll have to go through.
Oh no.
Alice's photos you found from the shoebox in the talk show basement. Before you can go to Parliament Tower, you must put them in the shoebox at her statue at the plaza. To help you, to help Alice, to help Saga Anderson.
I'm my own Deus Ex Machina? Really?
Okay. It does kind of make sense.
How many writers does it take to finish a story? One for each draft. It's the same writer, but in a different point in time. I follow the steps he laid out for me.
Follow the steps that I laid out for
Adi
me.
had guided me there. I bring the photos to the shoebox by the statue.
Not trusting either of these fools. Do have a lot of batteries, so we could try burning these guys off. Or we could walk around them. We can always walk around them. What about you? Are you real or are you the fadey kind? You're the real kind. You're the fadey kind. You're the real kind. I don't trust any of them at the moment. That was way too much battery to use for fighting one thing. So, where in the loop are we going now? Is this going to take us to Alice? No. That can't be the end of Alan Wake's reality. Unless it forces you back out at some point to make sure you haven't forgotten to do Saga stuff. And I think that's what that is. I think that's a make sure you're up to a certain point. Ah, yeah, gain entry to Parliament Tower, progress Saga story. So we do have to do more of Saga story. Well. Don't mind me. I'm gonna do what the game needs. Here was me thinking we'd be playing more of Wake's story. We have to progress Saga story more. Okay. So we need to talk to Estevez. We can do that right now. That's back at the sheriff station. We've also got some profiling we can do.
I think you may be right.
So let's take the opportunity to do the profiling. So we're going to start off with Casey because Casey's had some trouble.
I can tell something is wrong. What's happening to Casey?
I'm a goner. Swell. A shadow crawling under my skin. In my head. Call my ex. Tell her I'm sorry. Terminal case, Casey.
Something's
Terminal
wrong with him.
Casey. Terminal
He's hurt worse than he
Casey.
says. He's scared.
Okay, so we know Casey's having some difficulty. Wake! Trapped in the dark place.
I assumed Wake escaped the dark place. Is it possible he's still there?
The Big Apple in an ocean of darkness. Gone diving. Note from my editor. You're using the wrong tense. Trapped in a loop. My friends will meet him when I'm gone.
Wake is still trapped in the dark place. Maybe he always was.
And then Scratch himself. What does he want?
Scratch was pretending to be Wake. Manipulating me. What does he want from me? No. I'm in control here. It's my mind place.
Nice try,
powerful.
Scratch.
Too powerful. Just his presence here makes me feel sick. Like a wave of terror through my head. I feel his single-minded drive to get the clicker.
Well, we're definitely not going to let him at that. So, Wake and the clicker. Wake has been attacked. Wake is trapped in the dark place.
Wake is trapped in the dark place. He's been reaching out, communicating with me in the overlaps.
Well, that's obvious. So Scratch wants the same thing as Wake, the clicker. I think that Casey had Wake's face. There was never any Wake. It was Scratch the entire time. And Wake has been contacting me from the dark place. So how do we rescue Wake is the ongoing question. And finally, we have a thing that we can do in the story. The FBC brought powerful lights to subdue the Taken. So that is, I guess, light in the dark presence? Yeah.
The dark presence is vulnerable against bright light. At least that makes sense.
They were pretty powerful lights, all things considered. Right. Back to the sheriff station. There's that manuscript page. Hiding in the mud. The cult finds the clicker.
After getting his hands on the FBC files, Ilmo Koskinen knew what he was up against. He masterminded the cult, his and Yako's army, to fight the fucked up horror lurking under the lake, and a plan to keep those feds in their bunker by the lake in the dark. Outsiders would only screw things up. The Koskinen sabotaged the FBC's monitoring station and rigged it to alert them when something was brewing at the lake.
Of course.
One time months later, when the alarm rang, they drove to the lake again, ready for a fight. But this time, they didn't find any monsters. Something else washed ashore. The light switch. They'd read how Wake had stopped Jagger with it in the stolen files. From that point on, whenever the cult caught someone taken over by the Shadow, they cut out the monster's heart, pushed the switch into the hole, and flicked it.
It's an interesting ritual, to say the least. Definitely feels like messing with science you don't understand when it's not science. At what point does science and mysticism overlap, eh? So, are these FBC agents now? Or, no, these are just regular folk taking photos. Okay, that's going on TikTok. Let's go loot the backyard area before we go and talk to Estevez. So actually, it doesn't look like there's anything specific out here. We've got the cubes. But the actual containers that were here have all gone. Alright, we'll leave them alone. Is that another page? No, that is just a random I mean, it is a page. It's just, it's not a page of anything we can interact with. Estevez.
The FBC usually handles stuff like this, right? Any thoughts?
Hold up. You brought a paranatural object in here without telling me and then almost handed it over to a hostile entity?
I didn't know if I could trust you. That was a mistake. So was believing Scratch. But it's not too late. I just need to understand more.
You got that right. Let's start acting like we're on the same side, yeah?
Yeah, I think that starts with you as much as it does with me.
So tell me what I'm missing. The FBC must know something.
Good news, we have Bureau intel on all of this. Bad news, it's highly classified. Good news, consider yourself deputized into the Federal Bureau of Control. Here,
Hooray!
the cell where we keep the files. Happy reading.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep, I will
team.
take that key.
One
So
more thing.
we're gonna
the
do
lake
the
house.
reading.
I didn't give you all the details earlier, but now that you're part of the team, I can really let loose.
How fucked up is it?
Misery loves company.
The horror story's changing reality. It made it so my daughter died here, even though she's supposed to be back home in Virginia. Do you know if that's...
AWEs are localized distortions of reality. The area outside town might not be affected. Sometimes they expand, sometimes they fizzle out. If we can make sure it's the latter, your kid might be fine.
But what happened to the lake
What
house?
happened at the lake house?
Oh, okay. I think we go
Right.
in.
You've seen firsthand how complicated and messy the FBC's cases are. But this story should help you learn that things can always get weirder.
Now, thinking about this, we are 20 minutes in, so it might be more prudent to tackle this next time as a separate episode. But we'll have a look at the setting at the very least.
This isn't the Bureau's first time in Bright Falls. 1970, 76, 8... Last one was in 2010. It's not exactly clockwork, but this town sees way more altered world events than most. We knew it was just a matter of time before the lake acted up again. After the AWE in 2010, the FBC's research department set up a facility, the Lake House, to study the threshold in Cauldron Lake, find better ways to contain the entity inside.
Makes sense.
Your tax dollars at work. When we detected a spike in paranatural activity at Cauldron Lake, before I even knew you were on this case, Saga, the Lake House was my first stop. I was short-handed, hoped they could spare some help, maybe give us some intel on the situation. If I had any clue what was waiting for us in there, Saga, I'd have just kept on driving.
It's definitely ominous, isn't it? But that is a face of someone who is
This is
serious.
Agent Kieran Estevez responding to an AWE alert in the vicinity. I need to speak with the Marmons.
And silence.
So much for the welcome wagon. You all set up the perimeter. We're on the Threshold's doorstep, so keep your eyes peeled.
Yes, ma'am.
None of those agents are going to be seen again. That's for certain. Return addendum. The lake house. Okay, we'll do this another time. Let's head back. To the main story, and we can pick up the lake house next episode. That way we can give it the proper attention that it deserves. Okay, I can't lose my family.
The whole thing is a nightmare. I can't let my family be torn apart.
Having family isn't easy in this line of work. The late nights, travel, alternate realities threatening their existence.
Yep, it's difficult.
My ex-wife couldn't take it.
Kieran, you're better off without her. I know I am.
Wait, same ex-wife?
You really don't remember Logan living in Virginia with me and David?
I remember you and David having problems. You needed a break. You and Logan moved to Watery, and then Logan, well, that awful thing happened. After you came back to work, I thought you'd be the perfect partner for this case, if you were willing to return to the area.
Okay. That's enough.
Yeah, the story is changing your
The
memories.
story is changing your memories. What you're remembering is fiction. Logan is alive. I'm not divorced. We never moved here. I remember the truth.
No. Wake or Scratch, whoever that was, said the story could be used to attack us. We all need to question what's real. With that said, how do we know the story isn't giving you false hope?
It's
I
a
can't convince them.
fair
I just
question.
need to change the story.
Like you have to approach it from one point of information over here, one point over here. They're contradicting.
What happened at the lake
Oh no,
house?
did not mean to do that. No, not yet. We'll definitely come back to that at some point. Right, so let's head to the locked cell and check out those files. Because just giving us plot exposition wouldn't be the same as allowing us to read them for ourselves.
The cult didn't trust Wake. Or is it Scratch?
Transcript of an interview with Alan Wake, suspected para-utilitarian. Mr. Wake, you've been taken into FBC custody and will receive an in-depth interrogation at a later date. For now, I need to ask if there's anything you can tell us regarding the incident at the hotel. Anything we may need to know. As if also you don't understand, a presence is after me, it wants to consume me, consume everything. Yes, you mentioned this dark presence before. Why does it want you? It feeds on artists, on the art they create. It wants me because of my writing, but it can be any form of art, any artistic expression. Music, painting, film, photography. It can feed on any of it, all of it. You have to believe me. We're well aware of this entity, Mr. Wake. We've been tracking the situation here for a long time now. You yourself have been on our radar for over a decade. I'm sure those nuts in the research department are just going to love checking you out. Hey, make a note to redact that before the submission. Let's get back on track. You mentioned the light switch earlier. Where is it now? I don't know, but I need it. I can't end this without it. Will you help me get it? Mr. Wake, you're in custody, pending charges for breaching of numerous federal violation codes. We're not going to give you a suspected paranatural object. You're not frickin' listening to me. We're listening just fine. Now, do you have any accomplices? Fuck you. Let me the fuck out of here. It's coming for me. We're all in danger. Interview was terminated due to subject being uncooperative.
Wake isn't the first person the Dark Presence disguised itself as.
The Shadow. Thorough extensive interviews with witnesses of AWE-35. Additional details regarding the Shadow A010 have been discovered. Redacted and Redacted, both present during the AWE, reported seeing a woman named as Barbara Jagger in Bright Falls at the time. Jagger is a former actress and Bright Falls resident who emigrated with the filmmaker Thomas Zane from Finland and was reported to have drowned in Cauldron Lake during a redacted AWE in 1970. Research staff have concluded that Jagger's appearance is likely the case of the Shadow manifesting in human form. Research is ongoing as to the nature of the connection between the Shadow and the psychophysical signatures available for it to mimic. Current hypotheses are: the Shadow could only manifest as artists or individuals tangentially involved in the creation of art who have operated within a certain physical range of the lake. The Shadow can manifest as any individual contained, definition needed, within Cauldron Lake. So, pretty much anyone who has drowned is what I'm thinking from that.
The lake is a gateway to the dark place.
Okay. Deployment order urgent. Situation. At approximately 1900 hours on 13th of September 2023, readings from a remote surveillance unit monitoring the lake, known as the Threshold, to what researchers theorize is the origin dimension of A040, the Shadow, past acceptable limits. Attempts to contact the FBC research facility WA03, codenamed the Lake House, were unsuccessful. On-site event verification is not possible. Response procedures are initiated with immediate effect. Lead agent Kira Estevez will mobilize investigation unit Beta from the remote operations site at Redacted. All available Shadow-specific equipment, Lot 411B, has been approved for use in the field. Objectives: to confirm an active event. If an active AWE is occurring, the dispatch team will identify its nature and severity, limit exposure, and attempt to contain or neutralize the source. If no event is active, check monitoring equipment, perform limited profile sweep of the area, and check the status of the lake house and its staff. Additional information: relevant operatives in the area include the Cult of the Tree, Redacted, and Alan Wake, currently missing. I wonder if Redacted is Saga Anderson.
What the hell is a para-utilitarian?
Well, we've heard the term many times before. Item classification request 194-F. Description / para-utility. Based on reports, the item is a light switch from a lamp cord, with part of the severed cord still attached. Eyewitness accounts suggest the item possesses the ability to alter reality. The change is being based on Redacted, when used by a capable para-utilitarian. Parsing this item's effect from that of the Cauldron Lake Threshold responsible for occurring AWEs in the area is difficult, because the only reported use of the item have occurred near this threshold. Without more data, we cannot confirm the item intensifies the effect of the threshold or vice versa, or if there's no connection whatsoever. Recorded material from Dr. Hartman after becoming a Redacted have revealed that Alan Wake eliminated Barbara Jagger, likely a physical manifestation of a Redacted, by inserting the light switch into its chest and flicking the switch. The item is confirmed to have been used in 2010 to turn fictional writing into reality. See file AWE35. However, it's unclear what the restrictions and limitations of this effect are. Conclusion: the light switch is a possible object of power, but the team cannot conclusively classify the item based on second-hand accounts. Proper examination and testing are required in order to determine classification and precise effect of the item. I think that's all we have in here, so let's go to the board. So, file on the clicker. That finishes
The
that
clicker
section.
amplifies any changes to reality suggested by a piece of art. Makes them permanent.
And the Dark Presence feeds on artists and the art they produce. We have more to add elsewhere, though. Wake and the clicker.
Okay.
So Wake's in the dark place, and Cauldron Lake is the threshold to the dark place. As for Scratch or Wake,
I need to know what information I can still trust.
it's not the first time the Dark Presence has stolen someone's form. Scratch pretended to be Wake. Can anything Wake said be trusted? So we have, is the clicker still useful? And this gives us a little bit of info on it, but that's still an open question for sure. Back to fact versus fiction. Casey has remembered a bit more about
I know what is real and what isn't.
the fake
A
story.
megalomaniac writer can't make me doubt that. I have more family than I even knew. And I need to protect them all.
I think we've established
Investigating the
what's
story's
fact
lies
and
led me
what's
to
not.
a family I didn't know I had. Or was finding them part of the story too. Maybe it doesn't matter.
It's also possible that they didn't exist before this story in terms of Saga's world. So that's kind of interesting in itself to explore. We have a page about the cult's interactions. So let's see. Oh, of course, it's going to be one of the ritual ones. Heading backwards. How did they figure out how to use it? Trial and error? Maybe. Seems quite likely. And then in on the story, all of these are still for later. We will get to them. So, with a bit more information, let's ask Estevez about the clicker.
Scratch told me the clicker can be used to change the story. Does that match your understanding of this thing?
Yeah, the light switch is a paranatural item, maybe even an object of power. We have verified reports that Alan Wake was in possession of it during the AWE here back in 2010. It definitely has power. We know that much.
I can come up with a plan. I always do.
Goal 1. Come up with a new plan. Okay. We do have some profiling that we can do on Tor based on whether we can trust Wake.
Wake told me the clicker would fix this. But Wake was actually Scratch. How can I trust anything he said?
The artist must conclude his work. He rides a storm on your piece. Wake up and smell the danger. We told you already, kiddo. What Tom said about the light switch is true. Don't let the story confuse you. You need him to write the ending you want. The clicker can make that ending come true.
But we don't have Wake. Everything we knew about the clicker was true. He wasn't lying.
And that's good to be sure of at least, but I'm not sure if that really gives us much more to go on. We know the clicker's still useful.
The clicker can fix this. But I can't use it without Wake.
Okay,
Tor knows about this stuff. Maybe he can help.
how can we rescue
Wake
Wake?
is still in the dark place. How do I get him out?
We live and breathe rock and roll. From the silence of screams, from the fever of dreams. The clicker can amp up other works of art, not just Tom's writing.
Hey!
Anything created with passion. The dark power of the lake will make it creep into reality. But if the holder of the clicker believes in the art, they can make it all come true in the flick of a switch.
I can use the clicker without Wake. Only Wake's writing can change the horror story. But I can use the clicker to change something else. Like getting Wake out of the dark place.
That's definitely a plan. Okay, well, we have a deduction available, which is going to be on the case board. How to rescue Wake. The clicker can be used by anyone who's an artist.
Change reality and bring Wake back at Cauldron Lake. I'll need the right work of art, but that won't be a problem.
Now, in terms of other things, I don't think we have any further bits available, but yeah, we need to try using the clicker at Cauldron Lake to pull Wake out of the dark place.
I've got it now. I just need to tell the others what to do and fix everything. For good.
Sure. Share the plan with Casey and Estevez? Well, I think what we'll probably do is we'll probably finish up there. So we'll head round and we'll, in fact, we can save in this break room here. And next time we will do the DLC and go through the lake house before we try and pull Wake out of the dark place. But thank you very much for coming along, everyone. I do hope you have enjoyed this. As always, if you have, be sure to give a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so, and you'll be told when the next episode goes live. Otherwise, I'll see you next time for another episode of Alan Wake 2. See you soon.